Thank you very much, Carol. Toastmasters and welcome guests. Powerful tools of transformation. Imagine if you could transform your communication abilities to become one of the leading or best speakers in your club or business or company. Imagine if you could transform your career into becoming a natural leader to lead a team that becomes one of the most successful teams in your business. Imagine if you could transform your business and become a leading example in your community. Imagine if you could turn off your mobile phone. Thank you. I'm going to share with you one of 7 tools that can transform any aspect of your business or your life in your speaking careers and your natural leadership career. And the journey for me starts at the North Pole. Minus 60 degrees. Flesh that will fall from the bone after 45 seconds of exposure. Alone, unassisted, hauling 320 pounds worth of equipment. You would move less than 3 miles in a day over about 12 hours, which would take you probably about an hour in the countryside or half hour Monday morning rushing to work. Can you imagine what it would be like trying to go to the toilet, getting water to boil, and being in a sleeping bag like this, with only your mouth exposed, dead still, just in case you move? Because if you do, 37 degrees inside and minus 60 outside, you get a wind tunnel happening. That's what it's like going on an expedition to the North Pole. And you would ask me, why would you want to do that? And I had many people ask me that. Why do I want to go to the North Pole? Because I had a drive and a commitment to make it to the North Pole. And I was just a regular guy. Sure, okay, I'd come out of the military. I trained with the parachute regiment, so I had an ability, be it mind and physical ability, to be able to get there. But I was probably about as big as I am now when I decided that I wanted to go. So how was I going to be able to transform from just an overweight guy to this person who could cope and deal with conditions I didn't even know I was going to face? I got in touch with a few people, and I learned that I had to build up my fitness levels. I had to build up my knowledge, and there was a lot to learn. And I had to raise money, $150,000. How was I going to do all that? Some of the things which I had to learn was how was I going to tackle this highly technical expedition to the North Pole. It's so technical that it was believed by the 5 people who went before me, and they were ex-SAS people or very well big names in the industry, hadn't been able to make it to a certain location in a certain time frame before it gets too hot and the ice melts. And let me give you a frame of perspective. Imagine if I got to one part on the expedition 2 days too late, close at the beginning. I would be out of the expedition by about 2 weeks because of the leads that would open up down the road. What does that all mean? It meant that I had to be sharp, I had to be fit, and I had to create a new way to get to the North Pole that no other capable person had. And I was just a virgin of the ice, a nobody, a no one, and I had to find what it was going to take to get there. I eventually did train very hard, persistence. I had great mentors, people who successfully got to the North Pole, and they trained me. I pushed myself physically and mentally. I learnt what I had to do, that when I got to the North Pole, I was fit. I was Olympic cross-country skier fit, with an extra 18 pounds of fat, because I had to reduce my weight of my expedition so I could get over the ice ridges and get there on time. Through the hard gruel, I made it there. Minus 80 degrees was the coldest I experienced up there. Can you imagine what that would be like? 15 days later, I made it to the first checkpoint. Over 2 ice walls with 280 pounds left on my back. There I was, standing in front of the ice sheet with all this rubble behind me. And I looked out, and I'd made it. I had made it where others had failed. I was the first in history to do that. You'd think that that was it, wouldn't you? You'd think, great, that's all I want to achieve, a place in history, a mark that others could look towards. But that wasn't. That was only half the journey. That was just a fragment of the whole picture. And not ordinarily, when we're looking to become a phenomenal speaker, a natural leader, the leading business, the leading consultant, whatever that may be, we generally only think of ourselves getting to that point. How can I stand out from all my competition? How can I be better, greater? And all those qualities that define a better person or a better owner. But there was a key which I discovered on that particular expedition, which didn't bear fruit until years later. And it was set as a seed which I stand in honour of my mentors and teachers. Because if it wasn't for that seed, I probably never would have been able to discover this powerful transformational tool. And that tool, fellow speakers, rests outside of self, outside of identity. It rests in inspiring and motivating other people. And how does that work? I know some people have said to me, well, how can me getting involved with a charity help me become phenomenal as a speaker? I can't see it. I tell you what, if you told me that at the time, as in, this will make you achieve much greater things than what I actually achieved then, I wouldn't have believed it. I would have said, give me £100,000 over charity, thank you. I don't need to help others. And what it was getting involved with a charity. So I did. And at the time, I couldn't quite see why until much later on. And in the basic part, what I want to share with you is that there was some balance which was created when I looked outside of myself. People perceived me as this crazy guy who wanted to go to the North Pole, right? You know, I mean, as crazy as this guy who I eventually spoke with called Guy Newman, who, and I didn't realise that people perceived me as crazy, but he said to me, 5,000 miles, across the desert, 2 camels, by yourself. And I thought, why on earth would you want to do that? And then I figured exactly what people were seeing within me. They didn't have the passion I had. But I got involved with the charity. And what that did for other people is it grounded me. It took this crazy idea and it gave them a feeling of, well, he's doing something for a good cause. Oh, that's good. And that's what inspired people. And what's interesting, from the charity's perspective, they were probably the only people, including those doing university research on equipment and extreme conditions, who were you're their guinea pig. They welcomed me with open arms because I was their balance to this altruistic aspect. And so when they could use me, they could go across to all of their trustees and investors and say, we need a whole load of cash to get this guy to the North Pole because he's going to be raising money for the children. And that was a magical balance. Between those two elements, we reached everyone, from sponsors to companies to press as well, which was a very big thing. And that's what I want to share with you guys, is that, with you all here, is that only just opened up, which I didn't realise until later. We managed to raise $150,000, which was about £100,000. Got me up onto the expedition to get this particular feat achieved. But I didn't realise until years later on other expeditions that just how big that world is, just how big that transformational tool can become. And how each of you can take that one tool and apply it to your lives, in your speaking career. Here at Toastmasters, in becoming a leader and getting involved, looking beyond yourself. In that way, you can see a more rapid and direct process to achieving your goals and finding the fulfillment you're actually looking for. I hope you've been able to take away something interesting, at least one bit, from what I've been able to share with you today. And on that note, if you've got any questions, please feel free to meet me up in the bar. Mr. Toastmaster.